Hello and welcome to the Peace Party. Today is Messenger Wednesday, where we talk about everything and anything to do with law enforcement and criminal justice. Want to start off today with reading something that we wrote to start everything off, and it gives us a topic and a way to frame things today. Because down the road we're going to put everything in writing, but right now we want to give you some ideas as to what we're talking about when we talk about criminal justice and law enforcement reform. And we figured this is the best way to start. So we're going to start right now by doing this, reading this right here. Manipulation is a tactic of the unwilling. Too often here in the United States, when it comes to law enforcement officers and the way that law enforcement is treated here, anyone can be approached by anyone wearing a badge, carrying a gun, and be interrogated, questioned, and then manipulated to reach the officer's objective. This is completely and totally inappropriate. The only thing law enforcement officers should be doing is protecting people in general, but not creating crimes, not looking to create a criminal when there is no criminal standing before them. And the idea of manipulation and the idea of taking the truth and twisting it when your law enforcement officer is confronting the average citizen is a power dynamic that will always work to the detriment of the citizen. And the police know that. And that's why they do it. And the worst part is that our court system, our legal system, has made this not just in their eyes appropriate, but constitutional. Which is why the Peace Party believes the Constitution must be reformed, especially when it comes excuse me, I got a little bit of cough today. Especially when it comes to the idea of law enforcement and law enforcement reform. So anyway, the Peace Party is here to further the will of the people. We are here to foster positive change, but our journey is going to be long. Our journey is going to be difficult, but that is why we have each other. We are a family, and we are the Peace Party. And so with that in mind, the Peace Party is going to be working with the people to put together a proposal in September that deals with law enforcement reform, because manipulators don't care about what you have to say. They don't care about the people. They only care about themselves. That's what manipulation's all about. The agenda of the individual, the manipulator. That's what matters. Well, we don't see that as being a very free system, the way the thing should work. And so we want to reform and change how things are done and eliminate this idea that a law enforcement officer can come to you, lie, cheat, and steal in every way, shape, or form to manipulate you into making some kind of a statement or taking action that could lead to a further court hearing, maybe down the road, a conviction. The truth doesn't matter to law enforcement. The truth often does not matter to prosecutors. I saw that when I was framed for burglary. I had the first prosecuting attorney actually threaten my attorney, which today I still can't believe was legal. And my attorney did not have the chutzpah to fight back and let it be known to that attorney that he was going to file a complaint with the Bar Association, because attorneys don't fight that way with each other, although they should. And so what we found was that when you're dealing with the truth does not matter. It's all about convictions. It's all about the tally score in the office of the prosecution. And this is not a game. We're not keeping score as to who got the most prosecutions. What you're looking for is who got the most fair deals, whether the person was guilty or not guilty. Because you never want to put somebody in jail or in prison who was innocent. And you most certainly don't want to accuse somebody who did commit a crime of another crime that they didn't commit, to make things worse, to pile on, so that their jail time that may have been 3 years now turns out to be 25 years. How does society benefit? They don't. If the original crime was only a 3-year, worth 3 years of a sentence, and then they tack on other stuff that had nothing to do with anything, but they got away with it anyway, now it's 25 years, no one benefits. And of course society loses, because we're spending all this money on somebody who's in prison who doesn't need to be there. And we're going to talk later in the series about what to do when it comes to prison reform, in the sense of reforming the convicted person who's now in prison. And then when they get out, helping them find a place to live and a job. It's all interconnected if you don't want to have people going back to prison again. And yet too often, well, not too often, pretty much all the time, when somebody's released from prison, they're just thrown out on the street with a little bit of money, whatever clothes they had, and said, goodbye. Not even good luck, really. Just goodbye. Get out of here. And that doesn't help anybody. It's a different kind of manipulation. It comes back to the idea of the unwilling. People are unwilling to make sure that someone does not end up back in prison again. Don't understand why. Because again, somebody who's working, doing well in society, is happy, is also going to be paying taxes, is also not going to be in trouble, will probably be able to help somebody else down the road, probably would want to help somebody else down the road, and build a family and future. That's all positives. It's all what we want to see happen, and yet we don't see it happen because we're all wrapped up in this idea of punishing someone, retribution, righteous indignation, being superior, morally correct. First off, there's not a single person that I've ever met in my entire life that is morally perfect, that has always been morally correct. Not even close. And for those who like to beat their chest thinking, I am, you are truly then not. Closest that anybody would ever come to being that kind of person is the person that said, you know what, I have got a lot of flaws. I am not perfect, and I'm working on it. That's the closest you'll ever get to moral perfection, is somebody who admits that they need to work on themselves. And those are the kind of people you could look at and say, I like that person, and I don't feel like they're going to be manipulating me, because they're being honest. They're being true. They're letting me know, they're letting you know that they are not perfect and that they need to work on themselves. Nobody who's a manipulator behaves that way. Suppose I should say this because I haven't said it before, but everybody needs to have this homework assignment. There's a movie came out in 2024, it's called The Apprentice. It has nothing to do with the television show. But it does have everything to do with this man called Donald Trump. And it gives you a real good understanding of how we got to where we are, because what he's taught through the story and what he learns as the story progresses, is to be a master manipulator. He never accepts anything other than what he perceives to be his own reality. And he lives that way. As we can see, that kind of personality and that kind of leadership is not good for the people. It's not good for a nation. And it's not good for the future. And so here at the Peace Party, we don't want to be in any way, shape, or form manipulative. Which is again why we say we want to meet in September to discuss everything that we have been proposing with the idea of putting it in writing by you, the people. So that when you're done with that weekend, Constitution Weekend, and we come out, we will have a couple of ideas down pat in writing that we're ready to work on for the rest of the cycle, the rest of the years, however long it takes. That is how you make a difference, and that is how you deal with people when you want to make a difference and be positive. You do not manipulate people. You treat people with respect. You treat people with concern and hope and love, compassion, empathy. And that's what the Peace Party is all about. So with that, we're going to leave it. Tomorrow, or maybe Friday, we're going to ask the question as to what peace stands for. But today we're just going to leave it with our typical question. What's a reasonable profit for a landlord to make on a rental unit that costs a total of $1,000 a month to operate? Please let us know. That is the question that we've been asking. We're looking for an answer. And then with that, we'll let you go. We'll be back tomorrow for Coupon Thursday. And thank you. This was the Peace Party. My name is Carrie. Take care.